You will only watch this video if you are truly prepared to become enlightened. Have you ever felt that you're living under invisible illusions? That everything you think is control, love, success, or security is nothing more than a shadow passing before you? Complete enlightenment begins here, in this exact moment, with the simple act of realizing that you are the observer behind everything. What I'm about to reveal in this video cuts that illusion at the root. You will discover how to become the enlightened observer, the one who perceives without becoming confused, transforming thoughts and emotions into pure light. And pay close attention, because at the end of this video, I will teach a practical, profound, and hermetic technique to achieve complete enlightenment, the true final awakening of your soul, something only those who are prepared can understand and integrate. You think you understand your own mind, but you're mistaken. All your suffering, every sensation of emptiness that keeps chasing you is not an accident. They are signs that your soul is screaming for an awakening you still haven't dared to reach. Today, you will learn how to break this barrier, how to cross the veil that separates limited human consciousness from absolute perception, and discover what it truly means to reach complete enlightenment. Not in an abstract way, but in a real, practical, step-by-step process. This is not theory, not empty philosophy. It is a transformation that dissolves the old self and reveals the true being you have always been, but never allowed yourself to meet. Write in the comments right now, "I am ready for enlightenment." If you want to go deeper, check the benefits and become a member. The first thing you must understand is that enlightenment is not a prize you receive after suffering or meditating for hours. It is a total recalibration of your entire being. Every automatic thought, every unconscious reaction, every repeated pattern is an invisible obstacle. Observe your own mind now. How many times do you repeat old fears, resentments, anxieties? It is this cycle that keeps your soul asleep. Recognizing this is painful, but necessary. The pain is not a punishment. It is the sign that you are about to break the chains of illusion. Another step is learning to separate the observer from the observed. Your mind is full of noise, opinions, judgments, and habits that make you believe you are limited. Thoth teaches that you must identify the point of consciousness that simply observes without judging, without interfering. This is the core of enlightenment, realizing that you are not your ego, that every emotion, every impulse, every memory is only a visitor, not the owner of your reality. When you connect with this inner observer, you begin to feel a freedom no one ever promised you, because true freedom is not external. It is internal, absolute, unshakable. Complete enlightenment is not merely a state of calm or happiness, it is the total dissolution of everything you believe yourself to be. Every thought, every memory, every sensation you call me is a temporary construction that limits your true being. Thoth teaches that the first step toward enlightenment is recognizing the illusion of the separate self. You must see that your ego is not you, that your personal story is not you, and that your desires and fears are nothing but passing forms of energy. When you acknowledge this, you begin releasing the chains that bind your consciousness to limitation, and you create space for the true self to emerge. Within the deepest layers of Hermeticism, there's a principle called as above, so below. This means that the transformation you seek externally can only occur when your mind and soul are aligned with the flow of universal life. Observing the world without attachment, without judgment, is what allows the light of consciousness to penetrate every aspect of your existence. Thoth reveals that by internalizing this principle, you begin to perceive that every event, every challenge, every person in your life is a mirror of your own consciousness. Enlightenment then becomes a practice of constant recognition, perceiving the reflection of the universe within yourself and adjusting your energy to harmonize with the eternal truth. The practice of deep Hermetic meditation is essential. It isn't ordinary meditation. It is a total immersion into the perception of being. You must sit, silence every distraction, and direct your attention to the center of consciousness that observes without interfering. Each conscious breath connects you to the flow of energy Thoth calls the universal logos. Feel as if every cell in your body is absorbing light and dissolving darkness. Feel consciousness expanding, reaching regions of your being that once seemed inaccessible. This is not symbolic visualization or a superficial, mystical technique. It is the feeling and integration of the very light of creation within you. The next step is mastering mental transmutation. Every negative emotion, every repressed pain, every stagnant energy must be transformed into strength, clarity, and wisdom. Thoth teaches that this transmutation occurs when you perceive each impulse and energy as raw material for evolution. Every anger, fear, or doubt, when recognized and directed, becomes fuel to elevate your frequency. Imagine a fire that burns without consuming, a flame that transforms everything it touches into light. That is the power you access when you master inner transmutation. Aligning with the most advanced Hermetic principles also involves understanding time and causality. Everything that happens in your life is the result of energetic patterns and past choices. To become enlightened, you must transcend the illusion of linear time. Thoth teaches that in the enlightened state, past, present, and future become simultaneous. You perceive the totality of your existence and understand what must be transformed in the now. Acting from this awareness allows you to rewrite the flow of your own energy, to shape your destiny in harmony with universal truth, and to accelerate the process of the final awakening. The continuous practice of active consciousness is what separates those who merely dream of enlightenment from those who truly attain it. Thoth shows that every moment of daily life is an opportunity for integration. Eating, walking, listening, speaking, breathing. Everything must be done with full awareness, as if each gesture were a prayer and each thought a bridge to cosmic consciousness. Enlightenment manifests not through isolation or retreat, but through absolute presence, perceiving the interconnectedness of all that exists. Finally, complete enlightenment requires mastery of pure will. Thoth teaches that will is not simply wanting or deciding. It is the force that creates total alignment between mind, soul, and universe. When you focus your will with awareness, every action and every thought becomes an act of creation aligned with universal truth. No distraction, no ego-driven desire, no unconscious impulse can remain untransformed. You become a conductor of cosmic energy, harmonizing every atom of your existence with eternal light. A soul awakened at this level is irreversible. There is no return to the previous state, no confusion, only clear and unlimited perception of truth. With each step, you feel the dissolution of illusion and the emergence of a silent, infinite, absolute presence within you. Thoth teaches that complete enlightenment is the recognition that there is no limit to what you can perceive, feel, or integrate. Every insight opens a new dimension. Every inner transmutation reveals hidden layers of the soul. And as you walk this path, you understand that enlightenment is not about reaching something. It is about becoming the very process of absolute awakening, a living channel of universal wisdom where every thought, every breath, and every action resonates with the sound of infinity. You must understand once and for all that enlightenment is not about accumulating knowledge, seeking spiritual pleasure, or chasing temporary mystical experiences. Complete enlightenment is assuming the position of the absolute observer, the one who sees everything without becoming confused with anything, the one who perceives every thought, every emotion, every movement of life without clinging to them. Thoth reveals that only the enlightened observer can cross the veil of illusion and touch the essence of the soul. As long as you remain trapped in the ego, every perception is distorted, every decision is limited, and every attempt at awakening remains incomplete. The first step is to identify with surgical precision that everything you perceive is not you. You are the silent point that observes the dance of the universe within and around you. Feel this. Every emotion that arises, every impulse you try to control, every fear that paralyzes you is being observed right now by a consciousness that is unaffected by any of it. This is the enlightened observer, the true center of your existence. Thoth teaches that the practice of becoming this observer is the core of all enlightenment. It is not about pushing away emotions or thoughts, but about realizing that they pass through you like clouds in the sky, transient, impermanent, irrelevant to your essence. When you settle into this position, every inner conflict, every doubt, and every shadow begins to dissolve because you're no longer reacting, you're simply perceiving. To become this observer, you must master the discipline of total attention. Every breath must be felt, every sound perceived, every bodily sensation noticed without judgment. This level of presence creates a field of consciousness that Thoth calls the mirror of the soul. In this mirror, everything that once seemed confusing or painful is now seen with absolute clarity. You begin to perceive repetitive patterns, mental habits, fears, and illusions as objects that can be transformed, released, and transmuted. Being the enlightened observer means perceiving the energy of life in motion while remaining intact, without getting lost in the stories the mind creates. The deepest Hermetic knowledge teaches that the entire universe is an expression of energy, and that the awakened soul can influence this energy when it observes with full consciousness. The enlightened observer does not react to the world, he harmonizes it. Every thought, every decision, and every action that arises from the conscious observer resonates with the frequency of universal truth. Thoth reveals that the observer is, in fact, a portal to enlightenment. It allows you to perceive reality as it truly is, without distortion, without illusion, without deception. From this position, every step toward complete enlightenment becomes natural, inevitable, and irreversible. To integrate this into daily practice, you must train your mind to continuously recognize the observer in everything. When you feel anger, observe the anger. When you feel fear, observe the fear. When you feel joy or desire, observe. Do not confuse yourself. Do not get involved. Do not identify. This constant practice creates a permanent state of serene vigilance where the soul reveals itself effortlessly. Thoth teaches that this state is the true starting point of complete enlightenment, because from it you realize that there is nothing to be conquered outside yourself. Everything lies within, and everything is revealed when you remain as the observer. The practice of the enlightened observer also transforms your perception of time, space, and causality. Thoth explains that when you observe without clinging, every event of the past becomes understandable, every present moment becomes full, and the future ceases to be a haunting mystery. You perceive the totality of existence simultaneously, understanding the law of cause and effect, and how the energy you emit transforms reality itself. To be the observer is to assume the position of the alchemist of your own soul, transmuting each instant into clarity, wisdom, and expanded consciousness. And as you practice, something extraordinary emerges. Every thought that once limited you, every emotion that once enslaved you, every illusion that once seemed real dissolves before the observer you have become. Thoth teaches that this is the level at which enlightenment stops being a distant goal and becomes the continuous experience of being. Every gesture, every word, every breath becomes an expression of the awakened soul, reflecting the light that emanates from the silent and absolute observer. You realize that complete enlightenment is being permanently conscious, unshakable, and infinitely connected to the flow of universal life. To achieve complete enlightenment, you must first understand that nothing outside of you holds any real power over your soul. All suffering, all anguish, all confusion are merely projections of a mind not yet aligned with the enlightened observer Thoth teaches you to cultivate. This observer does not judge, does not react, does not identify. It simply perceives, records, and transforms. Becoming this observer is the initial and definitive step, the consciousness behind every thought, every emotion, and every movement of life. Silent, clear, unshakable. Without this perspective, any attempt at enlightenment is incomplete, fragmented, and temporary. The deepest Hermetic wisdom teaches that the universe is mental, that everything that exists is a manifestation of a greater consciousness. To align with this truth, you must recognize that your own mind is the laboratory of creation. The Enlightened Observer allows you to see the invisible patterns that govern your life, to perceive where you are being controlled by habits, fears, desires, and illusions. Each time you separate yourself from these elements and simply observe, you strengthen the frequency of the soul and activate the final awakening. There is no room for distractions. You need total, relentless, constant attention. The practice of the Enlightened Observer demands introspective and presence exercises that cannot be superficial. Sit down, silence everything, and begin to watch your own breath. Notice thoughts arising without trying to control them. Notice emotions appearing without clinging to them. Notice the body reacting to stimuli without judging or resisting. Each moment you manage to remain as the observer is a real, direct step toward complete enlightenment. Thoth teaches that this is the portal through which consciousness awakens and begins to operate on levels that were previously invisible. Furthermore, Thoth explains that complete enlightenment depends on the transmutation of internal energy. Every impulse, every emotion, and every memory charged with negative energy must be perceived and transformed by the observer. Anger becomes creative force, fear becomes clarity, pain becomes wisdom. This process is not intellectual, it is visceral, sensory, and only occurs when you remain present as the silent observer. Every moment of conscious observation is an act of inner alchemy, a direct transformation of the mind's matter into the light of consciousness. Another profound Hermetic concept that Thoth teaches is the consciousness of totality. By becoming the enlightened observer, you perceive that there is no linear time for the awakened soul. Past, present, and future merge into a continuous perception. You understand how your thoughts, choices, and actions shape reality, and how every energy you emit returns proportionally. To be the observer means to comprehend that each moment is sacred, that every experience is a reflection of the universal flow, and that enlightenment is the capacity to perceive, integrate, and transmute all these energies without getting lost in any of them. Practicing the state of the enlightened observer also transforms your relationship with the external world. People, situations, and events cease to be obstacles and become mirrors, revealing internal patterns that still require attention. Every conflict observed with conscious presence dissolves. Every fear perceived without reaction is transmuted. Thoth teaches that complete enlightenment is the ability to maintain this position constantly, allowing consciousness to permeate all aspects of life. The awakened soul no longer reacts. It perceives, understands, integrates, and harmonizes. The journey of enlightenment is continuous, but each step taken as the enlightened observer creates a real expansion of consciousness. Thoth teaches that this state is not temporary, not accidental. It is the continuous experience of enlightenment, where you walk awakened in every moment, living the fullness of being and integrating the universal energy into every aspect of life. Complete enlightenment begins the moment you realize that the consciousness that observes is different from the mind that thinks. Thoth explains that everything you once believed to be you, thoughts, emotions, desires, fears, are merely transient reflections, shadows that arise before the silent observer. To attain enlightenment, the first step is to recognize this fixed point, this consciousness that never changes, that remains unshaken, even as the external and internal world shifts around you. Becoming this absolute observer is the initial key, because only from this place can you perceive reality without confusion and without attachment. Every moment of identification with thoughts and emotions blocks the light of the soul. The practice begins with full attention. Observe each thought and emotion that arises without engaging, without judging, without reacting. Visualize them as clouds in the sky. They come and go, but the sky, the observer, remains clear and vast. Thoth teaches that this daily exercise strengthens the awareness of the observer, allowing it to become continuous, not limited to moments of meditation, but active in every moment of life. It is in this state that enlightenment begins to reveal itself, when the mind dissolves into pure perception. Internal transmutation is the next step. Dense emotions such as anger, fear, and desire are not enemies, but energy that can be converted. As you observe, allow these energies to transform into clarity, wisdom, and light. Every conscious breath and every moment of full attention amplifies the power of the soul, dissolving old patterns and creating space for expanded perception. Complete enlightenment, as Thoth teaches, is the result of this continuous practice. The mind becomes transparent, the body responds in harmony, and the soul aligns with the universal flow of existence. By remaining as the observer, you realize that nothing external or internal can dominate you. Thoth reveals that enlightenment is the experience of feeling the absolute presence of consciousness behind everything, understanding that thoughts, emotions, and experiences are only transient manifestations before the observer. Every conscious perception is a step forward on the journey to the final awakening, and every moment of full attention is a portal to the expansion of the soul. This is the direct, step-by-step path that leads to complete enlightenment, and only those who practice with rigor and consistency reach the state of the illuminated observer. The next step is to integrate this practice into every action of life. Walking, listening, speaking, eating, breathing. Everything becomes an opportunity for observation and expansion of consciousness. Thoth teaches that enlightenment is not something distant or abstract. It is the continuous living expression of the observer in action, transforming reality through pure presence and total attention. Every experience, every challenge, every emotion is perceived as energy that can be transmuted into light until awakened consciousness becomes the constant in your life and the soul reaches the final, complete, unshakable, eternal awakening. Complete enlightenment is not a distant state. It begins the moment you recognize that there is a consciousness that observes, and that this consciousness is greater, deeper, and more stable than any thought or emotion that arises. Thoth explains that all events in life, internal and external, are only reflections before the observer. To attain enlightenment, you must first separate yourself from identification with thoughts, desires, and fears, perceiving them only as phenomena that appear and disappear, while the consciousness that observes remains unchanged and silent. This is the initial and decisive point. Becoming the absolute observer, the one who stands behind everything. Every moment of distraction or automatic reaction is a return to the state of illusion. To remain on the path of enlightenment, practice full attention to each thought and emotion that emerges. Observe them without engaging, without judging, without resisting, allowing them to exist and dissolve on their own. Imagine each thought as a cloud and each emotion as a wave on the ocean. They pass, but the sky and the ocean, your consciousness, remain clear, vast, and unchanging. It is through this continuous practice that the mind becomes transparent and enlightenment begins to arise naturally, effortlessly, yet with discipline and consistency. Thoth also teaches that the energy of dense emotions such as fear, anger, or desire must not be denied. It must be observed and transmuted by the power of the observer. Each conscious breath and each moment of full attention transforms this energy into clarity, wisdom, and light. Complete enlightenment manifests when consciousness remains steady before all stimuli, internal or external, perceiving them only as transient expressions of existence. This is the state of the illuminated observer, where the mind no longer dominates, the soul awakens, and every moment becomes an opportunity for conscious expansion. At this stage, you understand that mastering inner silence is just as essential as observing thoughts and emotions. It creates the fertile ground where awakened consciousness can fully bloom, and every experience becomes a tool for expansion, consolidating step by step the complete enlightenment that Thoth teaches. Hermetic technique of the Enlightened Observer. Step by step. Step 1. Preparing the space and the body. Choose a quiet place without interruptions where you can remain for 20 to 40 minutes. Sit with your spine upright, feet firmly on the ground, hands relaxed over your lap. Take 3 deep breaths, feeling the air fill your body, expanding your chest, and relaxing your shoulders. Visualize your body as a sacred temple and sense that every cell is alive, conscious, and receptive to the energy of enlightenment. This is the beginning of inner alchemy, preparing the body and mind to receive and integrate higher consciousness. Step 2. Activation of the observer. Close your eyes and bring your attention to the center of your head, where consciousness feels most silent. Imagine yourself stepping back from every thought, emotion, and sensation, becoming the point that simply observes whatever arises. This point is your enlightened observer. It does not react, judge, or identify. It only perceives. Ask silently within, who is perceiving this? Hold this question as a silent mantra, reinforcing the presence of the observer. Step 3. Deep observation of thoughts. Allow thoughts to arise naturally without trying to change them. Observe each thought like clouds in the sky, appearing, drifting, and disappearing. Label them mentally only as thought, without adding narrative, emotion, or judgment. Feel the separation between you, the observer, and what appears in the mind. Every moment of non-reactive observation strengthens the central point of consciousness and expands the state of illumination. Step 4. Observation of emotions. Now notice the emotions that arise: anger, fear, anxiety, joy, desire, as passing energies moving through your body. Breathe deeply and follow these emotions without attachment. Imagine that they flow through you like water, while the observer remains steady, silent, and unshaken. Every emotion observed without identification is transformed into pure energy of light and wisdom within you. Step 5. Connection with universal energy. Visualize a golden or silver light above your head, descending like a cascade through your body and surrounding your energetic field. Feel this energy filling every cell, aligning body, mind, and soul. While you observe, allow this light to transform any internal blockage, transmuting dense thoughts and emotions into clarity and harmony. The enlightened observer uses this energy to expand consciousness beyond the ego and the illusions of the mind. Step 6. Observation of external reality. With your eyes closed, notice the sounds, smells, touches, and sensations in the environment without reacting or judging. Every external stimulus is only a reflection of the universal consciousness, passing before the observer you have become. Feel yourself completely free from the need to control or interpret, remaining in the pure state of presence. This strengthens your ability to remain enlightened, even in the face of chaos, distractions, or external challenges. Step 7. Integration and expansion. During the final minutes of the practice, imagine the enlightened observer expanding to encompass everything: each thought, emotion, sensation, human being, animal, plant, star, and planet. Recognize yourself as the consciousness behind all things, unshakable, present, complete. Feel the totality of existence being perceived by you without separation, without identification, only pure perception and conscious light. Step 8. Conscious return. Take 3 deep breaths, gently bringing your attention back to the physical body. Move your fingers and hands. Feel your feet on the ground and open your eyes slowly. Notice whether you still maintain the sensation of being the silent observer, now integrated with the external world. Write down any insight, sensation, or perception gained during the practice. With time, the awareness of the observer becomes continuous, no longer limited to the moments of the technique. Step 9. Daily practice and consistency. Practice this technique daily, preferably twice a day, for 20 to 40 minutes each session. Consistency strengthens the observer, transmutes internal energy, and creates continuous perception of reality. Gradually, thoughts and emotions stop dominating you, and complete enlightenment becomes the natural experience of the awakened soul. Become a member of the channel because every step into deep Hermeticism, every esoteric teaching, and every rare technique is revealed here, creating a unique journey of self-discovery and spiritual expansion that you will not find anywhere else. Continuing to live as the observer is allowing the light of consciousness to transform everything that once felt real, manifesting the pure presence of the soul in constant action. Every instant becomes living alchemy, every breath a portal of wisdom, every perception a seal of the soul's final awakening.